Yeah, so a very good question. And one thing you've got to do is understand that regardless of you being a mutual, you've still got to stay up there with the rest of your competitors who are competing for the business on equal footing. So you've got to continuously develop products. You've got to be up there with your pricing and your rating, and you've got to ensure that you are staying abreast of what the market is doing, both for your consumer as well as from a regulatory perspective. Right, so on my side of the business at PPS Short-Term, we started the business by purely being an inbound call center for members who wanted a product. However, after a couple of years, we found that there was a great calling from the brokers to have a PPS branded and approved product as well to sell. So we started introducing our product to the broker market and allow them to sell our product on our behalf. And we found tremendous support from brokers for what at that time was purely an intermediated whole-lot product that we sold. Oh, phenomenal. And this is the reason why we've taken a step back and became an insurance company, because the broker ultimately is what's required here. As a professional in this country, you'd find that invariably the professional will start accumulating wealth, will develop a lot of risk to his business, and as a result is more prone to needing financial advice around his risk portfolio. And there is where a broker comes into the fore, because as a call center you cannot assess a client's needs and risk by just talking to them. You need to be on the ground, and the broker is the ideal person to provide the right level of advice to the client. Yes, I think the first one would be competition. There's a myriad of short-term insurance offerings out there. It has become highly commoditized, and it is become technologically available. So a person can open up a newspaper or pick up the telephone and have access to 5 different options. So I think competition is one, that there is a lot of competition in the marketplace. 2 is the changing risk profile that we're facing right now. I mean, the environment is changing firstly. So if you look at our world itself, the recent changes in weather patterns we've suffered, that has an impact on your pricing and continuity of providing a reasonable cover at a reasonable cost. So that's a big factor as well. Number 3 is your regulatory environment. I think regulation is becoming more onerous, and not without reason in many instances, because the regulation is there to protect the consumer ultimately, and it's a necessary evil, if I can call it that. So we've got to live with it and we've got to embrace it. But regulation is becoming such that you need to be constantly abreast of what is taking place. So that would be the third one. Your fourth one is globalization. We are becoming more and more citizens of a global village. For us to commute across the globe is easy. And how do we remain relevant to our clients and ensure that they get the cover that they require while they're trotting around the globe? That's going to be an important factor that we all going to take into consideration. Number 5, I think skills. This industry is suffering from a dearth of skills because of a number of factors. Reputation, the lack of new entrants into marketplace, the new qualification requirements that are in place, and the onerous risk that officials take in this industry is really having an impact on a scarcity of skills. Yes, I mean the PPS Group and brand is a phenomenal brand. We've done so much over the last 75 years, and I think members are starting to understand and appreciate how much this business is valued out there. So I think that the brand and its customer, loyal customer base is our number one advantage out there. The second one is our potential customer universe itself is small. There are only approximately 500,000 professionals in the country. So the most we can probably accommodate is 500,000. Now, if we had 500,000 customers, for us to manage that is far easier than an organization that has got 1 million or 2 to deal with. So we can provide a better level of service. We can provide more insight into that risk portfolio as well, because it is a well-defined portfolio of risk. So that, I think, is certainly a competitive advantage for us as well. The third one is access to the mutuality around the world. I mean, we just heard about the Mutual Federation in the world that we are a member of, and we get a lot of information out of our colleagues in the world that they share with us, and that helps us to also determine our strategies going forward, and is of enormous benefit for an organization of our size to have access to 230,000 people of expertise out there in the world is certainly a benefit. Our wish list for PPS here. I think one is to understand what and where our limitations are as to what we can provide for our members. And I think this is for the leadership going forward to take cognizance of. And we can't be all things to everyone. And I mentioned earlier today that one of the reasons we entered the short-term insurance industry was because of a call by members saying, provide us with a short-term solution. And we did that. But it is still within our core expertise of insurance, and if we want to be broader than financial services. But we've got to understand what those limitations are. We cannot become a retailer, and we cannot become a provider of other services to our members. So we must understand our limitations and work within our expertise. I think that's a very important consideration that we as a leadership currently, and the new leadership that comes in thereafter, should bear in mind from a PPS perspective.